A few weeks ago, I got a call from the bank. So they reached out to me because they wanted me to update my next of kin forms. The one thing I realized is that I forgot to update it after my late husband passed away. So I went to the bank and obviously going through the whole process of filling in the forms. And I had to ask the banker, okay, thank you for, reaching out to me and helping me update my forms. But I have a question for you. Right now, I have 2 young kids. One is 4 and another is 5. What will happen to me? Yeah. What will happen to them if I am no longer there, right? What will happen to the money that is in my account? Will they still have access to it? Will they be able to get this money to be able to take care of them in the case that they needed this money the most? So what the banker told me is that no, they will not be able to have access to it. So they said next of kin will be the person who, in case of anything, this is the person that they'll reach out to. But when it comes to access of the money, that will not be possible. Then it got me thinking, as parents, we work so hard, we invest, we are building, we sacrifice so much for our kids. But the question is, in the case anything was to happen to us, right? What will happen to everything it is that we have done? Will our kids still be able to access what it is that we have worked so hard for? Will it still be in a place of stability, in a place of now direction, or it's going to be chaotic? So at that point in time, I realized there's so many parents, especially here in Kenya, who are working so hard but have not created the right structures to just make sure that no matter what happens, because guys, we have to be realistic. Life does happen, yeah? We need to make sure that in the case of anything, there is going to be continuity in our children's lives. There's going to be minimal interruption in our children's lives so that the dreams that they had, the vision that we have for our kids can still move forward. And today, if you have not subscribe to our channel yet, please, this is the time to do it. And it will be great for you to do the protection quiz. The link is in the description box below to understand the gaps that you have in your protection planning. And in addition, we have provided a workbook to be able to give you the teeny tiny points on how exactly you can be able to build your protection structure from scratch. Many of us focus on providing, which is not a bad thing, because our kids need it. They need the school fees, they need the food, they need the clothes, they need the shelter. We even go over and above and invest in their extracurricular activities. But the one thing a lot of us don't think about is how to make sure that this provision is protected. There is structure around this provision. And without structure, it's allows for unfinished business and unstructured love. And the worst thing is having provided for your kids and them being used to a certain type of lifestyle. And then there is a disruption that happens and that is no longer available for them. So now it's important to now think about, okay, yes, I am providing, I'm doing my best, I'm sacrificing so much, late nights, working so hard, early mornings. How can I make sure that all this hard work that I am putting for my child is structured? What are these accounts and tools that can help protect your children? So now we're going to go deeper into 5 of them, and it will be important that each and everyone is set up for your kids to ensure continuity no matter what. First, we have the emergency fund account. Yes, we have spoken about emergency fund for you, but it's also equally as important for your child, because at this point, yes, you are providing for your child's education, for their food, for their clothes, their shelter, right? So we want to make sure that even if your income has been interrupted, maybe you've lost your job or an unforeseen circumstance has happened in your business and you do not make an income that month or in the next 2 months, your child's life is not interrupted, at least in the short term. That means if they're still in primary school, they're still in nursery school, their school fees can still be paid. If it's now their home where it is that you guys are living, you can still be able to pay rent. if it's now a nanny helping you to take care of these children, you can still be able to pay the nanny. So it is very important to make sure you have an emergency fund account and put into consideration the expenses that are related to your children, so that in the case life was to happen, especially in the short term, your children's lives are going to continue moving forward uninterrupted, right? And a very great place to put your emergency fund is a money market fund because of the quick access of this money. And you remember, access is everything. And to open a money market fund account, please, you can go to the link in our description box and we'll be able to sort you out. Tool number 2, life insurance. By the way, this is a no-brainer. And this, we're going to talk about now life insurance together with a trust fund account, right? So what a life insurance does is that it gives out a payout in the case you are to pass away or get a critical illness like a cancer, stroke, or a disability. And now we need that income to be replaced. All your social value that would have been given to your child in the future is going to be replaced. Because remember, your child is in your care, especially between the age of 0 to the early 20s, because you're taking care of them from nursery school to primary school to all the way to university. That is what is ideal, right? So now we need to make sure that even if anything happens to us, any point in between, this life for our child will not be disrupted, because you are going to work to create that income. When that income stops because you're not there, it means your child's life is going to be disrupted. And now remember, we're not talking the small term things like, okay, primary school now, the nanny now, there's now going to be long term. There's now their high school, there's their university. So how can we make sure that even when life does happen, there is still some continuity so that our children do not have to face rejection or disruption in their lives just because there is no money? And the reason why I've said a combination of a life insurance and number 3, a trust fund account, is because a life insurance pays out as a lump sum. So say because you've taken a cover of about 24 million or 30 million or 10 million, whatever level of cover that you have taken out, that amount of money is going to be paid out as a lump sum to whoever you have chosen as guardian, because children cannot have access to money when they've not hit the age of 18, according to the Kenyan laws, right? So if this amount of money is paid out, the reason why we need to work hand in hand with a trust fund account, which we're also going to discuss deeper in a different video, or you can also check out the webinar that we shared some time back. We're also going to link it in the description box below to understand how trust funds work in a deeper level. But when this lump sum is paid out, it is best now to go into the trust fund account, and then the money will be distributed according to how it is that you have structured it. So instead of someone receiving a lump sum and you don't know if they're going to mismanage it, you don't even know what their true intentions are, or if your children will actually be taken to school with this amount of money. Sometimes people even end up to change the child's school because, they're looking for the children to go to a cheaper place so that they can have more of the lump sum for themselves. So if you want that peace of mind that, yes, I have taken a life cover for my kids, but I want to make sure that this life cover is going to do what it's supposed to do, you have to use it together as a trust with a trust fund, so that the trust fund will provide the structure on how this amount of money is going to be distributed. So as a smart parent, you need to think about the combination, the life insurance and trust fund combo, almost as a financial clone of yourself. Because yes, it is going to replace your income in case you are no longer there. So if you're not there, the life cover comes in to take your place, right? And then the trust fund further goes to put everything in place according to how you would have wanted it. So it's not going to be a game of guesswork. It is very, very clear that in the case I'm not there, my children's school fees will still be paid. Their medical insurance will be paid. If they have an expense related to what is important towards their vision and their life, it will still be paid. If they need maybe startup capital for their business, the money will be there because you as a smart parent have put together this plan. And this has been now our most popular solution actually for parents, putting the life insurance and the trust fund together just for that peace of mind. Yeah, just for that structure. As a parent, you require structure. Number 4, we have their medical insurance. Did you know that if your child was to fall sick, I'm sure you already know, it will truly disrupt their life and your life. So it is very important to just make sure that there's some sort of medical insurance that in the case something was to happen to your child, because children, yeah, one day they've gone to play, they've broken their hand, or they have a bacterial infection, or someone in their class got a flu and it just gave everybody in the class. So it is important to have this medical insurance so that it does not disrupt your child's life. You can just take your child to the hospital and they get the medication so that they can bounce back and go to school almost immediately. So if your workplace does not provide medical insurance for your child, did you know you can actually get a child medical cover? Yeah, a junior medical cover that covers only the children. You don't even have to be the principal, right? So with that, it covers children for the age of 18 and below, and it's very, very affordable. It's a very accessible and very affordable plan. By the way, if this is something that you're thinking about, please go to the description box below and we'll have created a link there for you to get cover for your child. But what is ideally meant to happen is if you have cover through work or if you have a personal cover, you can add your child as a dependent. But at this point, if you want to start and protect your child first, you can also get a junior cover so that they can have that protection in the case anything was to happen, so that now their life is not disrupted. And always remember, anything that is government related, like now in this case, SHIF or SHA, is not enough for your child. It can be a good place to start, but what might be good or might be better is going a notch higher and getting private medical cover so they can have access to private medical care. And last but not least, it will be good to have an investment account for your child, and you can do it under the trust fund. Did you know that you can buy shares, you can buy bonds even through the trust fund? So you can use the amount of money that you're contributing into this trust fund to buy the bonds, you can buy shares, or it can still be under, the normal unit trusts. But the beauty about it is the money compounds over a period of time. And this is an amount of money that can be used for their education. But also now, even as you're structuring now the trust, remember before in point 3, we spoke about the trust and the life insurance together for the structure. Now we're talking about it from a level or a perspective of growth, right? This is an amount of money can be used for the child's education, but you can also always add a clause that in the case they wanted to use this money for a business or a startup, they can have access to this money. And all of this collectively, all these tools, make sure that you are able to parent whether you are here or not, because it gives that level of continuity for your child. Yeah, as I'd mentioned, all these are a financial clone of you. Your child's life is not going to be disrupted no matter what, because you have created a solid structure on the side to make sure that no matter what happens, your children can still continue with their lives. Here are some extra tips that can help you when it comes to structuring for your child. Firstly, it is important to put down in a will who is going to be the legal guardian for your child. Who's the person who will actually live with your child in the case you are not there. Very, very critical to put it in writing, because if it's not in writing, it does not exist. You see, if both parents are alive and one parent is not there, the remaining parent is going to be the automatic guardian. But what happens when both parents are not there? We've had cases where both parents pass away at the same time and the child is left hanging, right? So this is where it's important to put down in a will. In the case you are not there, this is the person that I have legally appointed to take care of my child in the case I'm not there, because it means you would have already thought through this guardian, what are their values, how exactly it is that they see parenting. You've seen maybe how it is that they currently parent their own kids and you're comfortable with it, how it is that they handle money, and you feel that in as much as, yes, they're not as good as how you would have been as a parent by yourself, but in case anything was to happen, this is a backup plan, right? So it's good for you to choose it yourself, not to let the courts choose. Yes, when you're filling in the trust fund form, there's a place for guardians, but that one is only the person who is going to be managing the money on your behalf in the case you're not there, on the behalf of your kids, right? But now it is important also, in addition, to have this legal guardian put down in a will so that it is very clear who is going to continue taking care of your child legally. And in the courts, it will be seen that you had already made your decision. Number 2, you can open an email account for your child so that now you can put their photos and add memories, voice notes, and you can give it to them at the age of 18. How amazing is that, right? Right now, maybe from the time it is that they are born, open up an account for them, an email account, and that is where you're going to be accumulating all the memories. You're accumulating maybe your thoughts, your dreams for them. If there's something you saw and it made you happy and it made you think of them, you can put it down in the email so that when they are of age, they can sit down and actually go through it. And this is something that they're going to appreciate, right? And thirdly, very, very important to make sure that you put your documentation in order, right? It is good to know, okay, these are my children's birth certificates. I've actually scanned them, and there's, a folder that holds the soft copies of this birth certificate or anything that entails or is important in your child's life. Sometimes there's that card or the vaccination card. That is something else you can also put online. You can put it digitally so that it's easily accessible in case maybe you are not there, but you have a guardian who can be able to ensure that there's some level of continuity. So make sure you put your documents in order, because at some point you'd like your child to benefit from all these assets that you're accumulating over a period of time. So if you have, title deeds, you have the children's birth certificate, anything that is attached to your investments, right? Just scan them, put them now on soft copy and put them in a folder so that it's very clear. And then also in addition, have a safety deposit box or a safe where you can put the hard copies so that in case of anything, it's very easy for this person who's taking care of your kids or your remaining spouse to have access to all these documents. These are some common mistakes for you to avoid. Number one is listing your children directly as beneficiaries, especially when your children are under the age of 18. That means in the case you are not there, you were to pass away or get incapacitated, they will not be able to get the money directly, obviously, because they're under the age of 18 and they are not legally entitled to your money. Yeah. So this is why it will be better to put this wealth or this money or these proceeds towards a structure instead of now giving it to the children or the beneficiaries directly. Or even if they were to be of age, there's a possibility that they might not be able to manage this money the way you'd have wanted. Secondly, not having a trust fund account. This is very common because a lot of people just end it at life cover, especially for those who already have a life cover. But as I mentioned, it is important, even if now there's going to be a lump sum payout, for there to be structure around this payout. So it is very clear how exactly this money is supposed to be used because you have put instructions. So you're parenting even if you're not there. Thirdly, not having medical cover, because as I mentioned, this can really disrupt your life if your child is not well and they need to be admitted and you have no money to take care of your child, especially now when they're not feeling so well. So very, very important to make sure that you have a medical cover to take care of medical emergencies, because we know, as I mentioned, children come with the flus, they can come with a broken hand. We need to make sure that in the case this was to happen, your children's lives can still continue without being disrupted. Number 4 is assuming that your relatives are going to be taking care of your kids without leaving any form of money or even instructions. That is a very dangerous place to be. Yeah. It is very important to just make sure that you have put everything in order very, very neatly, because sometimes we have seen where children's parents have passed away and the children are left exposed. And sometimes these relatives even mistreat them, because the parents did not leave any structure and did not put anything in order. So it is your responsibility to just figure out what could possibly go wrong in terms of my planning, and especially when it comes to planning for my kids, and then make sure that you avoid the common pitfalls. There's one last one I've forgotten to talk to you about, especially to Kenyan parents, Kenyan parents only like to think about education planning, which is not a bad thing, because we know education is the key to a fulfilling life, especially now when you have put it together with the wisdom and the values towards your kid. But you have to remember, in case life was to happen today, right, your child will need more than education. Because a lot of you have education policies and you only plan for, if life was to happen to me today, at least I know they're going to university. But what happens between, let's say you passed away or a parent passed away when the child is 5 and now the child is supposed to go to university at the age of 18. What happens within those 13 years? How will they eat? Where will they stay? Who will take care of their school fees between now and then, right? Because of lack of planning, especially around this space, what happens is when a parent dies, the child, because of the struggle, they're not able to fulfill their purpose as expected because of the lots and lots of interruptions. Because when the parent is gone, we know there's the chances of being bounced from one family to another, but also they might have to downgrade the schools that they're used to. They might have to downgrade the home, the lifestyle that they're used to. So they might be even so financially traumatized, so emotionally and mentally traumatized that they might not even be able to get to that point of going to university. So I would like you, and I would challenge you to think about it. How can I make sure that every stage of my child's life is protected? Because even parenting is a journey. Yeah. It is a long journey, and we need to make sure that between now, the age of 0 to the age of 25, there is some form of structure. It's not a sprint, it is a marathon. So just take your time. And as I'd mentioned, we are here to help you when it comes to your child's protection planning. And again, link in the description box below when you want to talk to any of our advisors or to help you set up any of the accounts that we have spoken to you about. We do not have to wait for the rain for us to build the ark. You, my friend, are a protector. You're a protector of yourself, you're a protector of your child, you're a protector of your legacy. You have to be the person who's going to change the direction of your family's life by putting things in order so that they do not inherit chaos, they do not inherit lack, and they do not inherit confusion. And the only way to do this is to now build a protection plan by you going into your protector era. And by being a protector, you have to have all the right tools in place to just make sure there's minimal to no interruption when life happens, right? Because our life should have an interrupted lifestyle. It should have uninterrupted love, uninterrupted moments. We are here creating beautiful memories for our children. Let not one circumstance rub off everything it is that we have worked hard for, right? So by you joining the protection era, the first thing you could do is now take the protector quiz so that you can understand what are the gaps that are in your protection plan. And then we have a free workbook, everything in the description box below, which can help you now in starting your protection journey to understand the tools and how much it is that you need to put in order. And then also, in the case you need us to build your protection plan from scratch, you can always reach out to us, and everything is on the description box below. Click the necessary link, whether it's medical, whether it's life, whether it's trust fund, and one of our team members will get back to you and walk you down this journey. And we are so happy to walk you down this journey because it is so critical to structure our lab. It is so critical to structure our protection.